morning to you. Welcome to Morning Dew Show here on Daesak TV, the cradle of goodness. Remember, you can reach us on our social media handles. That is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Daesak TV. Our SMS number is 0724 121 812. The hashtag is Morning Dew Show. Now, today we have a lot lined up for you, being that now we are at 34 days to elections. But first, my name is Mungai.
And my name is Kilambo. Good morning.
Yes. So as I said, we have a lot lined up for you, but first let's look at what is happening on the headlines.
And on the headlines today being Tuesday, July 5th, 2022, having the Daily Nation. The headlines are polls, battles for the IT gurus. And there's also a story here about court hands Sonko a lifeline in Mombasa governor race.
And on the Standard, there is a story here that is actually on the first page. Paul, Karua's big impact. We're going to get into details with that. Another story here on page 7. Voters want new president to deal with high cost of living. Another story here on page 14 says, IBC says it's not our job to verify Sakaja's degree. We're going to get into details with that. But right now, let's get into details with the newspaper reviews.
There is one thing on the Daily Nation that is also making headlines, and that is I made you President Ruto towns Uhuru. More of that story, we'll be talking about that, and it's on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Yep. So let's get into it and see what this has to offer. Let's talk about the battle of the IT gurus that is on the first page, on the front page of the Daily Nation. And it says, Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga and his Kenya Kwanza counterpart William Ruto are banking on information technology gurus to safeguard their votes, with Davis Chirchir and Chief Jubilee Party agent, who also represented President Uhuru Kenyatta at the National Tallying Center in the 2017 election, leading to Ruto's win, while George Njoroge, the chief executive producer and managing director of East African Data Handlers, heading the Oginga camp. That is, the more stories on that is on page 7. But we want to look at this in a different way, because of recent past we've been having this. The elections, during the elections time, we've been having the technology having issues, from the servers, and these people are now using the IT gurus and hoping that they will bring about what can you call it? The fairness, the fairness within the election, the fairness.
Because technologies was one of the problems in 2017. Remember, there was a problem with that, and actually, right now, Deputy President William Ruto wants the electronic method, but Raila Odinga, on the other hand, he wants the manual. Now they say they're going to incorporate both ways, but they're going to use the manual in case there is a technical error or something like that. So incorporating the IT gurus, I think it's a good idea. Yeah,
but it is really a good idea. But the problem is the question we Kenyans are asking: how good will this be? How can we rely on them? Because they've been there, I guess they've been there before, and that is the biggest question we be asking ourselves. And you can give us your comments on our social media handles, that is Facebook, Twitter, and you can also give us your voice notes on WhatsApp, and we shall sample some of them. Yeah, we're asking, how legitimate are these people? Can we bet on them that they will deliver this task that they have been given? Will they deliver? Will they give us the best that we want? Because everything lies on them. Yeah. And as you can remember, the Azimio leader, in his questions to the IBC, the things he wanted done, he was really trying to question the legitimacy of the gurus, of the electoral process, the whole of it, from the way we try to use technology to bring that up. Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll pick the best, because in this sense they have to pick the best, the very best IT gurus. Yes. Now there's a story here that's actually making headlines here on the Standard. It's on page 6. Karua's big impact. Now it says, new survey commissioned by the Standard shows Azimio running mate Martha Karua is trusted in most regions to win more votes for Raila Odinga than UDA's Rigathi Gachagua will garner for William Ruto. This story is actually on page 6, and I would like us to read through it together. Now it says, Karua, Azimio presidential running mate Martha Karua is more trusted to net more Mount Kenya votes for her candidate rather than Kenya Kwanza counterpart Rigathi Gachagua will for his boss. That is according to latest opinion polls.
I would believe that would be right, because this is politics is all about strategy, and as you can see, that was strategic to have a woman runners up for the Azimio party, and I think this one has brought about the women feel now they can relate. There's someone there for them. There's someone who'll voice their problems. So I think if you look at that in itself, it shows that she's really able to garner a lot of votes compared to Rigathi. Yeah.
And in the poll commissioned by Standard Group and conducted by TIFA, 49% of 1,533 Kenyans polled said Karua will scoop more for Raila Odinga, while 30% said Rigathi will do a better job for Deputy President William Ruto. Slightly more of Ruto's supporters, 18%, did not know who between the pair is a better deal compared to 12% of Raila's supporters. So according the polls continue saying that 80% of Raila's supporters believe that Karua will deliver more Mount Kenya votes to Azimio, and 59% say 59% of Ruto's supporters believe Gachagua will deliver more Mount Kenya votes to Kenya Kwanza. So this means that more people are trusting Martha Karua to deliver votes for Mount Kenya more than Gachagua.
Yeah. That would be true, as I told you earlier, because it's a game changer. It's history being made in Kenya, because we've never had a woman in the topmost positions. So for now, I think that would be something that we have to look at and see, because Martha Karua is bringing something to the table, and she alone has a lot of supporters in the Mount Kenya region. So it is proper to say that she has an upper hand compared to Rigathi.
But we know both of them are from Mount Kenya.
Yes.
Both of them
are from Mount Kenya.
Yes.
But the difference is she is a running mate to the Azimio team, and that gives her an upper hand, because I know now ladies and women want to relate with her as a leader. I think she's inspired a lot of them and given them a voice that they can do it. So that one in itself can be a plus to the Azimio team.
Yeah, the poll continues saying that in all other regions, that is Coast, Lower Eastern, Nairobi, Nyanza, South Rift, and Western, Karua beats Rigathi hands down. In Nyanza, inevitably, she beats him like a drum. So in Nyanza, Karua has all the votes.
That is a strong.
Yeah, but this is just polls, and this is polls conducted by the Standard Group and TIFA. So they are just polls. They did.
Yeah, their opinions.
Yes, they're just opinions. Yes, and let's wait and see.
Yeah, it's a matter of time from when you strategize your election idea. I think that was the best that the Azimio team did, because it's big. It's going to garner a lot, you know. Our economy is more of the youths and the women. And the women always have their votes in check. So if she's able to garner those votes, then Azimio will be at a good spot to win in this election. But it all turns to you, the Kenyans, to choose and get your leaders. Yeah. I want us to move a little bit. You remember there's this story about Mwaure vowing to fight corruption as he launches his manifesto. And that is on page 10 of the Daily Nation. A Gano party leader says only he can deliver the country from the clutches of corruption in his 12-pillar pledge to Kenyans. Yeah. So that story is on page 10. We'll talk more about it. Let's now head to the story that is really, really, really exciting about Sonko. You know, Sonko has had problems with IBC for him to be gazetted to run for the governor's seat in Mombasa. And so what is happening right now is that the IBC has directed that in directing the IBC not to gazette the names of governor candidates, court gives Mike Mbuvi a legal breather. So right now he's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and he feels like he's going to be on the ballot. Yeah, because now the IBC have been told to try and see what they can do. So Mike Mbuvi, right now at least, he's breathing a sigh of relief. Yeah.
But his relief is until the matter is heard and determined.
Yeah, until the matter is heard. But at least the fact that at least they are giving me an hearing here, that is a plus. Yeah, at least because he's been devastated of the recent past. He's been going back and forth trying to get his name gazetted so that he may run through the Wiper Party.
Yeah.
For the Mombasa governor race. Yeah.
Now there's another story here, and actually this story is linked to the story in page 4 on the Standard is linked to a story in page 7. This is something that we have been discussing day in and day out, the high cost of living. And there's a story here about a woman who actually says that she cannot afford rice to feed for her children. Now, the source says some families are eating just once a day or not at all because of rising food prices. And we were talking about this yesterday still, whereby people are just having one meal or nothing at all, you know, and it's very unfortunate. And it continues saying that someone here, Catherine Kanini, says, I would suggest they open factories and they give us work. They should reduce the prices of commodities whose prices they had increased. Now, these are, of course, of normal Kenyans who are saying how their life has been since the prices of maize flour and rice and everything else, the way it has risen. They are now complaining, crying out to the government that they reduce the prices or they give them jobs so that they can be able to meet these high prices. And on page 7, it's actually it's kind of a poll of the cost of living. Kenyans urgent united cry. Now it says Kenyans across the political divide are united in the demand for the next president to address high cost of living as soon as they land in office. Now it has reached to a point whereby Kenyans are not bothered as whether the candidates will fight corruption or whether they are corrupt. They are interested to see that the incoming president will deal with the cost of living.
By the way, speaking of that, why haven't these people, like the presidential candidates, talk more of our livelihood, you know? The cost of living in Kenya is becoming very expensive. I think if I were to run for presidency, that would be in my manifesto, trying to tell people how I'm going to reduce the cost of food, because it's a want, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a basic want, food, and that is the problem right now, because yesterday we were talking about this, and you heard that the cost of living has shot like with 50%.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
50%. That
too
is
much.
too much.
Yes.
And it's within a very short time.
Mhm.
And the prices of things are rising. Mungai is 200 shillings and above.
Mm.
That is very, 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 very.
But I hear
serious.
right now it's at 183. Yeah, I think they have reduced it a bit.
Okay.
I am not sure.
Mhm.
Just rumors. Now, in a poll conducted by Tifa Research, 51% of those polled cited high cost of living as the area they feel the next president should prioritize.
Mhm.
Education, it's okay. Telling us about infrastructure, how you're going to build roads, it's okay. But first, how are you going to cope with the cost of living? Because that is where we are right now. That is where everyone is concerned.
Mhm.
You know, coincidentally, cost of living scored the highest as the Jubilee government's biggest failure.
Mhm.
So since 2017 to now, high cost of living is the highest as the Jubilee's government's biggest failure.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, high cost of living scored the second most important consideration for choice of president. Now Kenyans are looking at
I told you.
cost of living. How are you going to solve cost of living? Okay, I think we're going to go with
Yeah,
that.
because food is basic. We
Yeah.
won't study without food.
At the end
We
of the
won't go
day,
to work without
yes.
food.
Yeah.
So
We
if
can-
if the prices are high, we're gonna have a very big problem.
Mm.
So if someone can come and tell us straight up that this is what we're going to do about the cost of living, I think that person will be gaining votes
Mm.
because it's a big thing. Given that right now we have no rains,
Mhm.
yeah, this is the only time that we were expecting very heavy rains, and for now we're being told there are no rains, and there's some places in Kenya that are experiencing severe drought.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the incoming presidents should actually prioritize this issue because this is what Kenyans are looking at. They're looking at how you're going to deal with the cost of living
Mhm.
and how it's going to benefit us at the end of the day.
Yep.
As much as you're building roads and infrastructure,
And
health, and
yeah.
all those other things.
Mhm.
Yes.
I want us to look at a story here.
Mhm.
Imeji President Ruto taunts Uhuru. It has a continuation on page 4 and 5,
Mhm.
but I want us to look at it a little bit and see,
Mhm.
because we've seen the back and forth between the deputy president and the president.
Mhm.
Though it's not a good show, because if from the top we have a problem, then it means down here we still have a problem. So it says, a visibly angry deputy president confronts Uhuru, accusing the president of forgetting that were it not for him, he would never have been president in 2013, leave alone winning the second term in 2017. Advertly spills the beans on the power dynamics of the Jubilee administration. So you see the back and forth and between them.
Mhm.
So it continues on page 4 and 5, and it says latest frauds between president and his deputy exposes intrigues leading to the election in 2013 and subsequent re-election in 2017. The accounts also turn the focus on the changing roles the country's leading politicians play in every election cycle. So what do you have to say about this? And
Mhm.
because you see, this was a team. For them to come now and try to do their dirty linen in public, it is very wanting. It is very wanting for us, and as Kenyans in publicly, our leaders are throwing their dirty linen in public.
Yeah, I think it's not a good picture.
It's not a
I
very
feel
good
like
picture.
they should just talk, maybe.
Mhm.
But the fact that they have already come out publicly and they are saying words to each other, I think they should come out
Mhm.
and talk publicly the way they just started publicly. Because if we say that they're going to talk and talk their issues in private,
Mhm.
and they actually came out in public and they were saying this, all those things, they are just saying things to each other,
Mhm.
I think they should do it. If they are going to talk, if they're going to become friends again, they should do it publicly.
Mhm.
That's how I feel.
I feel like, is it okay to say that I think the deputy president feels betrayed by the president, because he says in these papers that they are the ones who pressured President Uhuru Kenyatta to be the president. If I'm to read a little bit of the reactions they had, what the UDA leaders said, there are people who are circulating some recordings claiming I forced Uhuru to run. Let me tell them that they don't know how we made Uhuru Kenyatta the president. We are the ones who worked hard to ensure that we won the Azimio la Umoja brigade. Sorry about that. We are the ones who worked hard to ensure that we won, and the Azimio la Umoja brigade are conmen. So it begs the question that I've been asking you, that is it viable if we say that the DP William Ruto feels like he's betrayed because he was doing the hard job for the president to be where he is right now, and in turn the president turned against him, and he's now part of the Azimio program, but he's not really trying to garner votes for them though. He's just doing his diligent due duties to be the president. You know, there's also another opinion here, another reaction about all this, and it says in 2013 Uhuru wanted to drop his bid in favor for Mudavadi, and he even signed a secret agreement that would have had Mudavadi run for president. We didn't know about this though. Mudavadi ran for president. When we learned of the development, we refused. I tore that agreement into pieces and we forced him to consent. That is Tarakaniti Senator Kindiki. Yeah, that's his reaction to this. And there's one last reaction, and it says, when I remember these events, I think we also made a mistake to push the president because he's now forcing Mr. Odinga on the people of Kenya. Uhuru has never had the interests of the people of Kenya at heart, which explains why he is forcing us to vote for somebody we don't want. That is the DP's running mate, Rigathi Gachagua, saying that, you know. So it is quite unfortunate, and this really beats the question where our unity lies, you know, because these two people were very best of friends, did all that, and
right now
this I think it's bad to say that, because at least for when Uhuru Kenyatta won the elections way back in 2013 or way back in 2017, it was a win also for the deputy president. I think he now forgets this, or maybe he forgot he's the deputy president of Kenya. It was a collective force to make that happen. I don't think I didn't know about that in 2013 they had signed an agreement with Mudavadi, you know, and whatever the reaction that his running mate, the DP's running mate, said is a big thing, you know, trying to insinuate that Uhuru has never had an interest of the Kenyan people, and it explains that now he is forcing Mr. Odinga into the Kenyan fraternity. That is a very big statement if you look at it.
But it's just a reaction.
Yeah, it's just a reaction.
Yes.
It's just a reaction, but we'll be looking to it, and we'll see what they'll have to tell us more about this, because we didn't know that Mr. Mudavadi was supposed to be president at the time. Yeah. Politics in itself. I told you, as I always say it, and I say it again and again, there are no permanent friends and there are no permanent enemies. So if I told you are home and I know you are affiliated to a particular party and you wish them to make government come the 9th of August, please just know that this is a game of politics and it's never personal. So as wherever you are, just stay safe, do your due diligence, vote, and wait for the results. Yeah.
Now, switching gears, there's a story here on page 12 on the Standard. Says, cure or poison? Experts poke holes in Raila Ruto's pledge on health. So this is according to their manifesto on health. And I want to read quickly through it.
Mhm.
It says, as Azimio la Umoja Kenya Alliance and Kenya Kwanza presidential candidates Raila and William Ruto market their ambitious manifestos on health, experts have cast doubts on how they will be implemented to benefit Kenyans.
Mhm.
How will these health manifestos benefit Kenyans? It continues saying, however, health experts have poured cold water on the pledges that the presidential candidates said, saying that the two leaders have not been in government and may not offer anything new. What do you think about that, Lars?
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have been in government, but we want to look at it in who's calling the shots. You know, who's calling the shots. I think what these leaders want to do is they want to be in a position where they are able to call the shots without any hindrance in it. You know, so that gives you a fact that both of them have been in government, but they were not able to put this into play. What really makes us sure that they will do this when we give them a chance? Because if you look at the deputy president, he was in a position to influence something. These ideas that he has right now, if he had implemented them before, because he was part of the government, the Uhuru Ruto government had that with them. You know, they had a manifesto, they had a plan of doing things. You know, and some of the promises they gave us, we are yet to see them. You know, so that's a very big question that we as Kenyans would ask ourselves as we are going into the voting. That these two people, they've been in government for the longest time. All these ideas, they would have implemented them in their respective areas, in their capacity. Try to bring change so that we would say as Kenyans, you know, these guys started this and we want them to finish this. So please, let's give them a chance. They were all there, but so far they haven't been able to do that. Yeah.
James Kamau, a health economist and chief executive officer of Kenya Treatment Access Movement, says none of the candidates have explained their health allocation and implementation plans. Kamau says the leaders should also explain to Kenyans what universal health coverage means, what is working and what is not, and how to jumpstart the project.
I think that the problem here is all these people have talked something matters health, but the only problem we have as Kenyans is the execution. How are we gonna get there?
Yeah, and you know there are some people who don't know what actually universal health coverage is. You know, they need to explain to us what it is, how it works, how it does not work, how they're going to implement it. You know, it's a whole
process from the start. There's an orientation that Kenyans need to know how this thing is going to work. Because I remember in the DP's manifesto, he talked about health. He talked about bringing about technology into health, and so that we can be able to get our health records in check, and to help the patients and the doctors not to be redoing their practices again and again. So in that, we want to know how all this will be implemented, how it will be executed, and how is it beneficial to the normal mwananchi. You know, that is what exactly they are not telling us. They have the ideas, but how are we executing these ideas? That is the biggest problem we're having right now. And no leader has come out to tell us, okay, this and this, we are going to do it, this and this. This is how we are going to sensitize Kenyans about this. This is what we're going to do, and this is what we want to achieve. They're just giving us the skeleton, but they're not really telling us what we really want to hear. Yeah.
There's a very interesting quote here by Mr. Kamau. It says, Raila and Ruto need to tell us how they are going to get the money. If Uhuru's government is broke, they are going to take over a broke government unless they print money, he says. So actually that is his remarks. He's an expert when it comes, he's a chief executive officer of Kenya Treatment Access Movement, and that is his remarks, his views. That's what he thinks. So we don't know how both of them are going to implement this. because it's a whole process. They need to tell us how they are going to actually implement. Not telling us, okay, we're going to have universal health coverage, but how does it work? How does it not work? What is the process?
They have to help us through that road, answering the 5 W's, where, who,
yes.
And just before we continue, I'd like you guys to check on page 6 of the Daily Nation. Just from what I was telling you about the DP claims that he did the most of the campaign, then there's an answer to that. Apparently, if you look at page 6, Mr. Musyoka talks, and he says, Mr. Musyoka said he is ready to support Mr. Odinga and Ms. Karua for 10 years. Respect Uhuru, Kalonzo tells Ruto. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has faulted Deputy President William Ruto for disrespecting President Uhuru Kenyatta by talking ill of him in political rallies. You get? So it's an issue because there's a point where Mr. Kalonzo said Ruto has no moral authority to accuse Uhuru or Raila of messing the economy, while he is the one who ruined it, And he continues and says that the DP contributed only 20% of their victory with Mr. Kenyatta in 2013 and 2017. So it's a back and forth that we are looking at, and we'll keep you posted on every little bit that happens within this story.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually politics is again,
Yeah.
Now there's a story here, a very brief story about Sakaja, and I just want us to read through it for a minute before we take a break. It is not the IEBC. It's actually on page 14 on the Standard. It says, it's not IEBC's duty to verify Sakaja's degree, says lawyer. The Electoral Commission yesterday told the court that it is not required by law to verify whether aspirants have submitted authentic documents before clearing them. Agency says it can't revoke Sakaja's clearance even with the authenticity of his documents in doubt. Petitioner's lawyer says IEBC tribunal erred by shifting the burden of proof. Now, we know that this Sakaja stories has been going on about his degree, and he has not been off the hook yet. Yes, we don't know if he's going to vie, if he's not going to vie, but we will definitely tell you whatever the IBC decide.
Yep. And
but actually IBC said it's not their duty to verify his degree. But we just wish the best for him. But
so is it right if you would say that IBC is backing Sakaja in the dispute over the degree?
I would not comment on that, but what I know is that IBC has said that it is not their duty to verify.
And today there's a lot of interesting stories on these papers, and because if you look at page 12, Martha Karua speaks yesterday. She was in Nakuru County, and she said Azimio will take good care of you, Karua tells DP Ruto. But however, she castigates the DP over plan to investigate and jail Uhuru if he wins in the August 9 polls. What do you think about that? What do you have to say? Because if I'd really quote her, she said, it is shameful that someone is plotting to jail Uhuru Kenyatta if he wins the presidency. My question is, in which Kenya will he be the president? That's so it matters about politics, because apparently he says, let me just give you a little bit of it. He says Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance running mate Martha Karua yesterday stormed the cosmopolitan Nakuru County as a political outfit eyes a share of 1.5 million voters in the region. Ms. Karua's visit comes at a time in the battle of the Nakuru votes has intensified with the two main presidential candidates, Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto, competing for a piece of pie in the vote-rich region. As you know, Nakuru has a lot of people, and I think they're going to divide those votes. Just to let you be on the know, is that the presidential debate is set for July 26th. Yeah, where we'll be able to question and really know the intentions of our presidential candidates before they head up into the 9th of August post-elections. Yeah.
So in regards to this story, Karua here says, it's actually on page 8, and that is what I was actually looking for because I had seen it. Karua says, Ruto is full of anger and cannot be trusted with power. I do not know about it. Okay, it says, as a male presidential running mate, Mother Karua has assured Deputy President William Ruto of protection under Raila Odinga presidency. Addressing rallies in Nakuru and Narok counties yesterday, Ms. Karua said Dr. Ruto would be treated like a brother and a Kenyan. I quote, "We assure our competitors that we shall protect them. They are our children and Kenyans too. But don't elect the young man," in quote, Ruto, who is full of anger and bile, she said. What do you think about that?
You know, it beats the question because I don't know why he's so inclined into investigating and jailing the current president. Because and that is why on the Daily Nation today on page 12 she says Azimio will take good care of you, Karua tells DP Ruto, and it's because she doesn't believe in that. There's a point where she says we've had our competitors say that they want to investigate and jail President Uhuru Kenyatta. That when they take over power, but I want to assure them we will take good care of them. We won't get them in trouble if we take over the country's leadership, says Ms. Karua while addressing residents of Mount Narok. I think this is just a strategy for them to garner more votes. You know, if you portray your competitor as one who is going to bring about problems within the country in terms of jailing the former president, that is, you know. So that is just a strategy that Mother Karua is using
to get more
to allure voters on her side. Because she promises that she's going to take care of them, and then no harm will come up to them. So yeah, we just wait and see how it all goes down.
Yeah, we're waiting to see how it unfolds. Every day a new story comes, and we're going to definitely be briefing you on that. But right now, we need to take a very short commercial break here on Morning Dew, Daesak TV, the cradle of goodness. Remember, you can reach us on our social media handles. That is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Daesak TV. Our SMS number is 0724 121 812. The hashtag is Morning Dew Show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Morning Dew here on Daesak TV, the cradle of goodness. Remember, you can reach us on our social media handles. That is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Daesak TV. Our SMS number is 0724 121 812. The hashtag is Morning Dew Show. Now, we are at another segment. This is the political segment, and right now we want to talk about a Ghana manifesto that has been trending, and it's actually on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Now, it says here, a Ghana manifesto pledges to deliver country from the cable of thieves. And I'm going to read through it and we're going to review it together. So let's quickly review it. A Ghana Party presidential candidate David Mwaure Wahiga yesterday brought down the curtain of manifesto launches for the August 9 election, promising rather a clear slate in leadership. Fashioning himself as the David who finally slayed the Goliath of corruption in Kenya, the lawyer pledged to deliver the country from the clutches of a powerful and shameless cable of thieves. He vowed to fix the nation, which is under siege, losing 1.5 trillion shillings annually to corruption as he makes his second stab at the presidency. The Ghana Party leader, together with his running mate, Ruth Musheru Mutua, is one of the 4 presidential candidates in the year's general election. Now, he has 12 manifestos. The 12, he's calling it the 12 pillars of the Constitution, briefing in family, women, youth, person with disability, county governments, workers, business owners, economy, religious institutions, environment, and the international community. The party commits to guard and this is the first one. The party commits to guard and defend the Constitution against attempts to mutilate it through procedural amendments, while promising to increase revenue allocation to countries to 40% from the current 15%, and designating 10% of the allocation to go directly to village councils. What do you think about that?
It's a good move, because if the initial allocation was 15%.
Right now, and
it is at 15%, and he wants to give us more, and that will be 40%. That means that we'll be having more. How can we call it? We'll be having more money circulating on the lower side, like down the grades, where it will reach the people, it will reach the masses. Because right now we're just receiving 15%. So in that we're saying it's a plus, but the biggest question still remains: how are we going to achieve this? That is the biggest question we have with all these manifestos, because they really tell us how these manifestos, what should we should expect if they are elected. But the problem is, what is the kind of execution to get there? If I tell you right now, we need to go to Kisumu, at least I would tell you, we are going to use road, and on this road, we are going to pass via this and this, For me to understand that, I can allow myself and say, maybe when I get to Nakuru, I'll want to eat something, But if I tell you now, we're going to Kisumu, you don't know whether we're going by flight, whether we're going by road, or it's by boat, So that is the main biggest question that we have right now. How are they going to do this? Yeah.
Now, further, a task force will be convened to study the possibilities of dissolving Nairobi County, so that after 2027, the governor will be an appointee of the president and an automatic member of the cabinet. That is according to his manifestos. He says that the governor, in 2027 now, the governor will be an appointee of the president and an automatic member of the cabinet. Yes.
Now that piece.
This is something different.
This is very different.
The governor being an appointee of the president and an automatic member of the cabinet. Okay, we don't know how he's going to implement this, but we are waiting to see. And the third one he says in his plan for Kenyan workers now, Mr. Wahiga has pledged a general waiver of pay-as-you-earn tax by half, as well as assure a conducive environment for the private sector, individuals, and others to set up businesses in a bid to boost entrepreneurship.
In that case, it's a clever move, because if he does that successfully, then we are able to make our leaders be accountable to whatever they do.
And this will boost entrepreneurship now, according to the Agano manifest, Agano leader, Agano party presidential candidate. On matters economy, the party commits to limit total loan repayment by the government to 1 trillion, which will release 350 billion to support government programs, and urgently call for a fresh repayment plan to ensure that Kenya does not fall into debt distress. So he's going. The total loan will be limited by 1 trillion, which will release the 350 billion to support government programs, and this in turn will help us not fall into debt distress. Okay, he's actually also considering debt. How he's going to deal with debt, because actually in Kenya we have a lot of debt.
That is the biggest problem we are facing right
Yeah.
That our
Apart
debt,
from corruption.
Apart from corruption, the debt is too much, and we really don't have a strategic plan on how we are going to do this. And if we have a strategic plan, we really don't know how long it's going to take for us to implement it. You get? So the idea is not to have a shortcut in us paying our loans or our debt very fast, but the idea is having a working plan that will help us pay the loans. You get? Because our economy right now is in tatters.
Yes.
The livelihood that we're having, everything is expensive, but still we are still in debt. Yeah, and we are adding more debt. So it beats the question.
Number 5, further, the big fish of corruption, now the candidate, will be subjected to the judicial process, and shillings 15 trillion stolen and stashed abroad will be returned to Kenya. The manifesto promises.
I would like to ask some questions on that. Now, this 15 trillion, does he know where it is?
He said it's stolen and it is stashed in abroad.
That is the idea. Like, it's stashed in abroad. How will he? He's not telling how we will get that money back.
How? Because that's the main question.
How are we going to get that money back? Where is he going to start from? Who's going to accept that this money is stashed in some bank in abroad? You know. So I'd really love to know how he's going to do that. Not me alone. I think the whole of Kenya would really want to know, because why would we lavish in debt when we have some money in some bank?
Actually, 15 trillion, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But obviously, I know he has strategies, because he cannot say something he does not have.
And that is the idea. We want them to give us the strategy to get there. So we want to know how we will get there, because now as it is, we are on the verge of fading out. Everything is expensive. We cannot afford food. We cannot do what if we are able to pay these debts. And it's good that he said in his manifesto that he's going to allocate money that will help government projects come up. So in this case, then we will limit ourselves to how we're going to get that money, and I think we'll limit the borrowing heights that we've been borrowing of the recent past.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Mr. Wahiga will also push for making public all contracts with foreign entities, starting with SGR, Nairobi Expressway, Mombasa, Lamu, Naivasha, and Kisumu ports, move the Asset Recovery Agency to the presidency, devolve budgeting to the village council as opposed to Treasury or State House Budget Office, and create a legal framework that will ensure public sector audit, general reports of prime face evidence in abuse of office and misappropriation of funds cases. So basically, he's talking of connecting with SGR and Nairobi Expressway and the Mombasa Lamu ports, and how he's going to deal with that.
I'd like to say that would be good, because we would really want to know publicly how all these agendas that we have with the foreign countries, because this is where the money is lost, because we don't know how much they're giving us or how much we are lending from them. If all these things can be gazetted and they be on a public eye, then we can be able to monitor and see how this money is spent, how these projects are faring on. You know, if we don't know where these things are coming from, then we can do that. So in that case, I would say that's a plus. Yeah, that's a plus on his side. If he'll be able to do that, then we are willing to listen and watch what happens next.
Yes, he has very intriguing manifestos, but we don't know how he's going to implement
And talking about the expressway, apparently yesterday we had some accident on the expressway in Kilambo.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the second time this is happening, and so some guys were injured. But we'll be letting you know more about that story. Yeah, just be careful on your roads and stay safe.
Now, moving on to number 7. His government will establish a stolen wealth recovery and repartition commission, which will work with reports from past anti-corruption task forces to 0 on its targets. So the Agano Manifesto presidential candidate is actually saying that corruption, when he is elected to president, corruption will move to 0.
And that has been the issue since way back then about corruption. And I think when you look at the Agano Manifesto, the main thing he's really talking about is corruption. So we would really want to see how he's going to cut this in the best way possible, because we've had other presidential leaders like George Wadakoya who said, if you're corrupt, you'll be hanged.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone is talking about corruption.
Yeah. Their ideas are aligned, but the only difference is how they're going to do it. Yeah. So we wait and see which one works. Yeah.
So and I just want to quote what he said here, and I quote, our presidency, 10 years down the line, we would want to be remembered as a presidency which slayed the dragon of corruption, wastage, mismanagement, and the wolfing we have found in this nation for the last 59 years.
He'll be our David.
Yes, as he said here at the top, that he's the David that finally slayed the Goliath of corruption in Kenya. Yes.
Corruption is a very big thing, and it's really hurting us because it's growing from a generation, like from kids. Right now, our children are growing up corrupt already. So if we are to do this, then we have to go an extra mile to curb this menace of corruption. Yeah.
On matters health, Agano will undertake a comprehensive audit of all running Ministry of Health contracts at the national and county levels, terminating all corrupt contracts, and leasing agreements, conducts a lifestyle audit and vetting of all employees of the National Health Insurance Fund, that is the NHIF, subsidize NHIF contributions for every Kenyan adult, and establish a National Health Commission to tame rising health costs in private and public institutions. So now this is Matters Health. He's going to deal with NHIF, subsidize it so that it is affordable for both public and private institutions, according to now the NHIF. But all these are just manifestos. We don't know how they are going to actually do it, execute it. That is the word. But we are going to see, I think this is the most awaited election.
Yeah, it has brought players with different ideas and agendas on the table, and we are really, really looking forward to it, so that we see who was able to convince the Kenyans otherwise.
Yeah, because all of
if you look at all these manifestos, you'll see they're talking much on matters health, matters corruption, and also how we're going to pay off our debts. Yeah.
And actually on education, Agano commits to guaranteeing free education at all levels, complemented by a curriculum with appropriate skills set at all levels of education. Significant tax breaks for firms that take fresh graduates for attachment and eventually employ them. All teachers retraining and improvement done virtually at the cost of the government. Now, it says here that on education, Agano commits to guaranteeing free education at all levels, complemented by a curriculum with appropriate skill set at all levels of education. And also take whereby fresh graduates they'll be taken for attachment, and they will eventually be employed. Not in the case that sometimes you might go for attachment, then you don't get the job.
By the way, I saw a story. whereby there's the private sector is believed to have there's a recent stuff that most Kenyans now are preferring to go to the private sectors rather than go to the universities. Yeah. So I don't know how this is going to work, because they believe that maybe university guys are not really productive as much as they would be. Yeah. So that's a story that we would look at it, because if he's going to give them attachments, there's an idea that most graduates get these degrees, but they don't really get the jobs. But if you look these other sectors, if you go for the colleges, all these people, it's practical nature. So when they get outside there in the society, they get very, very, very productive.
Yeah.
But we're yet to see that.
Yeah, we are here to see. Yeah, and if it unfolds, we're going to definitely let you know how it goes. But as for the manifesto, that is the end of he's calling it the 12 pillars. But right now, we need to take a very short commercial break here on Morning Dew. But when we come back, we'll be talking matters lifestyle. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Morning Dew Show here on Daesak TV, the cradle of goodness. Remember, you can reach us on our social media handles, that is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Daesak TV. Our SMS number is, of course, 0724 121 812. The hashtag is the Morning Dew Show. Now, this is the segment, the lifestyle segment, and we want to talk about something that has been trending right here on the Daily Nation. It's actually on page 8. Boom for farmers as tea earnings rise.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good sign.
It's a good sign for the farmers. It's a win for the farmers, and they're actually happy because of that. So let me read through it very quickly. Farmers from Kericho and Bomet will pocket the highest bonus payments as tea earnings increased by 42%. Total earnings for the period of July 2021 to June 2022 has risen by 18.74 billion to 62.89 billion, up from 44.15 billion in the 2020-2021 financial year. Now, farmers from Kericho and Bomet will receive highest bonus of 15.27 billion, followed by Kilambo and Muranga, who will pocket 13.19 billion. Kirinyaga and Embu will receive 8.97 billion, whereas Meru and Tharaka-Nithi will get 8.46 billion. Muranga and Nyeri will pocket 8.3 billion, while Kisii and Nyamira will earn 6.9 billion. Now, smallhold farmers in Nyeri County are expected to earn 600 million as part of the 38.92 billion bonus.
Wow.
So the total bonus is 38.92 billion now for the farmers. It's actually very positive.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because looking at the economy right now, if you get a raise from whatever you're doing, then that is a plus.
It's a plus. Yeah, and the payment is actually expected to be made by July 8th, which is in accordance to the tea reforms in the Act 2020. At Gathuthi Tea Factory, pardon me for that, farmers will receive 40 shillings for a kilogram of green leaf compared to 20 shillings that was paid in the previous financial year.
20 shillings.
So the tea farmers in this factory who are getting 20 shillings per kilogram will now be getting 40 shillings. That's a double. Which is positive. So if you get,
so it is 40 shillings a kilo.
A kilo. So if you pick like 20 kilos, that would earn you like 600 shillings as opposed to the 400 you would have gotten in the previous financial year. Farmers affiliated to Gatugi Tea Factory will receive 41 shillings per kilo as compared to last year's 25 shillings.
So we would be right if we say that the tea farmers on the ground were very much exploited.
Yes, because if you're getting
20 shillings a kilo.
Yeah. And we know a kilo
and we export this. It comes in 3 grades. That is, there was the first grade, then the second grade, then the third grade. I think we as Kenyans use the third grade. The first grade we import it. So if on the ground, the farmers on the ground are not motivated, I don't think it would be a very good gesture, because it brings back revenue of a lot of money. So if at all Peter Munya has decided that this is the way to go, I think it's the best way to go, given the things, the way the economy is right now. That is the best way to go, so that we boost our farmers, we boost their morale, we boost their production. But we still have questions, We still have a lot of questions on that. Like you would ask, he's telling us about the profits, about how they're going to get bonuses, but you're not telling us the execution on the ground. We need to know, are there any technological advances that are there? How are we going to get this? How are you going to harvest this tea? We want to know all this because it will increase the productivity of the tea production if we start from the ground, from the farmers themselves. I'm not talking about brokers. I'm not talking about brokers. I'm not talking the go-betweens that are in there. Because it is before it reaches up there are some things that happen down here. So we want to make sure that the last person, who's the farmer, who goes out to the farm to harvest it or to plant it, how is he catered for in terms of maybe health, maybe insurance, maybe technological values? We want to know all that. Yeah, but so far so good.
In regards to that, the government has budgeted for distribution of a fertilizer subsidy for tea farmers to lower the cost of production, which is actually good. If they're going to provide for fertilizers for them, and at least they're going to cut the cost for fertilizers and maybe the seeds, but still they're actually going to incur the cost of labor. That is why we're saying they should. Yeah, and in UDA's manifesto and this other manifesto for Raila Odinga, they actually say that they're going to implement technology when it comes to farmers. So it will be very positive. It will be very advantageous to the farmers if they implemented it, so that the farmers would cut on the labor, because they're actually incurring on the labor, right? So if you're given 40 shillings per kg, you still have to pay for the person who is going to pick the leaves for you,
That's why I was insisting. Before we look at it and say it's a wow idea and that it's something we can embrace, we should look from the beginning, from the start, where it starts from the farmer. Before picking the tea leaves and putting them on your back, it's tiresome. It's not easy for you to get to a kilo, and you're given 20 shillings.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yes.
So if at all if the manifestos where the presidential candidates have said that they're going to incorporate technology in the farming industry, then we will be able to appreciate them, because they'll be able to help us in production, the cost of production. Because how many people do you think can do a whole field of tea farm?
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yes.
And in that way, they feel that they are what's the right word? They are oppressed, because I do that and for a kilo I get 20 shillings, of which now is 40 shillings, which is at least we can.
It's it at least.
Yeah, we can give them applause on that.
Yeah, with the high cost of living.
With the high cost of living, it's very good.
Getting 20 shillings for a kilo, and they're actually going to buy maize flour. Oh my God. There are no profits. And I know this farming is still, it's like a business, right?
Yeah,
It's
a business.
It's a business.
Yeah, because it brings a lot of revenue to the Kenyan economy. And the idea is we want to motivate the farmers on the ground. Because, okay, I feel this, but I don't feel it caters for the farmer on the ground. It caters for maybe the boards or maybe the tea factories, who are doing it on a large scale. But what about the farmer who picks it and tries to look for market to where he's going to sell it? How are we going to cut costs of the labor? How are we going to cut costs for transportation? How are we going to achieve this? How are they catered for? Because it starts with them. Before it reaches anywhere, it starts with them. Before it gets to the factories to be processed. How are we taking care of these people? Is there a way they would give us a line whereby maybe these people are catered for in terms of health,
Yeah,
because they just should be insured. They should be like their place of work should be conducive for them, because we want so many people to venture into this so that our productivity is higher than what we have right now. And we cannot do that only with numbers, as in just say we are adding your bonuses by 20%. We are adding this by,
So they need to do more.
They need to do more. That's how I feel, that they need to do more. And basically from the Wanjiku who's down there.
Yeah, because if this is a business, right? I am looking at the profits, because at the end of the day, I'm using fertilizers, I'm using seeds, there's labor, and there's transportation. I'm also looking at the profits. Profits rather. Am I making profits? Am I making losses? If you're doing this farming business, that is tea farming, then you realize you're actually getting losses and profits. Definitely the next season you're not going to do it as you did it last time.
Because I think the profits are there, but they're not realized by the farmers themselves. They are realized by maybe the factories, the boards, So we want to narrow it down to the farmers themselves. And I think the next time we'll be talking about this, we'll have the farmers themselves here to give us their plight, what they're facing down there, and how good is this to them, those who are on the ground, compared to, because we've not talked about the go-betweens that are always there between the farmers.
That is another issue.
Yeah, that's another
The
very
brokers.
big issue. The brokers that are in between there. They might get it from the farmers at a very cheap price, then come back this side and make very ambiguous kind of prices to the factories and everybody. So you get the farmer is not motivated, And I've had cases of these people having problems. These places maybe they don't have the necessary gear, maybe the gumboots, the overalls, So the machines to harvest are not there, and we cannot get them, And picking it is tiresome. For you to do a kilo, it will take time.
Yeah, it will definitely take time. Now, growers at Chinga Tea Factory, farmers will receive 33 per kilogram, up from 19 recorded last year. You see, it's very little money. Imagine getting 19 shillings for 1 kg.
Yeah, now.
And they wake up very early in the morning.
Yeah, you have
to go and actually pick the tea leaves, because you don't want to go in between the day because of the sun and other things.
and those are the kind of things we should talk about. They're like the weather. At times it's never conducive for you to do that. And if you're giving me 19 shillings, which that is a plus right now, because they're getting now at 33 shillings.
Yes.
Which is, at least it's a boost. But still, we still need to focus our attention on them. Because tea in itself, if we look at the revenue that tea brings back to our country, is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So they need to be given a chance. They need to be given more bonuses. I would say they triple it, maybe.
Yeah.
That would be realistic in a way, because they do a lot of work.
Yeah, they do a lot of work.
Obviously.
That's why I'm really campaigning for the farmers on the ground, because these people come in early to pick the tea and leave late, but they don't have anything to show for it. As opposed to these other people like the manufacturers, they go between, they have something to show for it. But the normal Mwananchi, who is a farmer, who comes every day to pick tea, he's trying to pick 3 kilos just to make some money out of it. Yeah. So they should start from the ground. Yeah. A house, when you're building a house, you start from the foundation. So if the foundation is work, then up here we want work. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the point.
But it's actually positive. As Peter Munya says, we have good news for 65,000 tea farmers.
That is okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a
in
lot
Kenya, we have started witnessing better yields that are resulting in major reforms in the sector that was started by the government since 2020. So there has been better yields since 2020, and that is why they are giving them more bonuses. Because actually, from what I understand, when you take the tea leaf to the factory, they check how you've picked it. They don't just put it there. They actually check how you've picked it, the quality, how the leaves are. So it seems here that the farmers are doing a good job. If Bishop Mungai has said that there is a positive result in yields, which means that farmers are doing their job.
Yeah.
So in turn, the people responsible for farmers should actually also consider them. You know.
And you've talked about something very important, the farmers' union. You know, they have these circles and the unions that cater for their rights. And I think right now that they should be vocal and let their voices heard, because this is coming in handy. Yeah, so that they fight for the technological upgrade. They fight for the lives of the farmers, their well-being, their health, and in turn we'll move up better than where we are right now. But it's a process, and this is a progress. Yeah, for them to get more earnings from it and some bonuses on it, that's a progress. We cannot dispute that. But we still ask them to do more for the farmers on the ground. Yeah.
Now the main problem is tea brokers. Now, I don't know how they're going to enforce that, the brokers, but we really do hope they're going to do that. But in the meantime, we need to wrap up, because this is now the end of the show here on Morning Dew Show. But make sure you tune in tomorrow, same time, same place. And remember, you can reach us on our social media platforms, that is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Daesak TV. The hashtag is Morning Dew Show. My name is Mungai.
And my name is Kilambo.
Have a good day.